right, guys, welcome into another edition of the Daytona Beach Motor Mouths. I'm Ryan Pritt, and that is Ken Willis. And Ken, we're going to start each week with a new little segment here. I like to call it, was yesterday's race better than golf?
There were Victor Hovland crashed and burned on the 16th, and it was a door handle to door handle there for a few minutes, and then he got into the marbles and ended up with a plugged ball, and you know how much that hurts. So
Yeah.
not only does it hurt, it takes away your chances at winning the PGA. So anyway, Brooks Koepka won, and most of the day it seemed inevitable, and I think the same could be said for Kyle Larson these days, unless he gets too close to Ross Chastain. He's probably going to win an automobile race every time he suits up, I would think.
Well, luckily for him, Ross was nowhere to be seen. A quiet day from Ross for the first time in a long time, right? And hey, if you're at home watching this, you are an astute viewer, as I'm sure you are, you'll notice Ken's background a little bit different today. Where are we at in the world today, Ken?
We were in the leafy suburbs of Indianapolis, Indiana, and Broad Ripple, and we're about, I'd put us about 10 miles northeast of the Speedway, and I'm going to be here for the duration. I'll be here through next Sunday's 500 and through Memorial Day, and probably head home the following day or next day after that. It's a great time. It's a beautiful time of year to be here. I mean, May is just, it just doesn't get any better than that here in Indy. And I've been marveling at the lawns, and the grass here is just, it's just unbelievable how nice it is. It just takes, for a guy who mowed grass his whole life, when I see these lawns, it makes me want to crank a mower and go in there. Just beautiful. This is beautiful out here right now.
That's right, guys. Remember, Motor Mouths, home of NASCAR coverage and lawn care. All of your needs are taken care of here.
I can help you out.
You were over at the racetrack Saturday. Just quickly, what was the environment like over there? And what's it shaping up to be?
It's great. You're talking, these cars they're topping out at 240, 241 down the straights, and averaging 233, 234 over a 4-lap qualifying run. Boy, I tell you what, there's a difference between 240 and 190. You see it when they go past you, and it's going to be, hopefully it'll be good next Sunday. They'll have a good, dry, sunny race, and a Ganassi or Penske car will probably win, and we'll go from there. There is a guy in the field, starting 32nd in the 33 car field. He's an IndyCar rookie, and his birth name is Stingray Robb. R-O-B-B is his last name. His name is Stingray.
So once upon a time, back in West Virginia, I covered a high school football player named Stingray Bates.
That's
Point
unreal.
Pleasant.
Yeah. Well, he doesn't have much of a chance, and that's a shame. He did well in the feeder series, IndyCar feeder series last year, but this is his rookie year, and he's been struggling. But he's in the field. Only one car went home. There was only 34 here for 33 spots. So anyway, that's your Stingray Robb update for Indianapolis.
Grass, Stingray Robb, and what else are we getting to? You mentioned 240. That seemed to be about Kyle Larson's lap speed there yesterday, I think, as you alluded to earlier. Obviously, he's, he is what he is, but what stuck out to me was he finished first. Bubba Wallace finished second. Both of them drove the truck race this week too, I believe. Little extra practice. Did we maybe not put enough premium on what those extra few laps turning at that racetrack would mean on Sunday?
I don't know there's no way to tell what it meant. I do know that Bubba is on a nice little roll now. This race obviously doesn't count toward the standings, but I think he had a couple of top fives coming in here. So that team, which was not exactly turning fast laps early in the year, they seem to have found something. So I think he might very well be a contender Sunday night for the 600. That's a lot of laps. So 400 laps, a lot can go wrong. That's a two-napper. That race is absolutely a two-napper if it was in the afternoon. Now it's a one-napper, and then you got to try to stay awake for the closing segment.
Having been there in person 4 or 5 times, I can tell you sometimes it's a napper in the stands as well, especially in 16 when Martin Truex led almost every lap, which was a whole other
Oh, and
Whew,
some of
heaven.
those years where Jimmy Johnson would just take off, and he owned the place for a long time. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Well, before we get to Charlotte, well, let's wrap up Wilkesboro. Our poll question this week, if you're watching, feel free to participate. What do we do with the All-Star race now? I think the talk this week's going to be, what do we do with Wilkesboro? Where do we go from here? Do we set it somewhere? Do we keep rotating? What do you think?
Well, having watched the PGA Championship yesterday, and you notice that the PGA, like the U.S. Open, the PGA has a smaller rotation of courses that they use for their national championship, and I would like to see something like that for the All Star race. I'd like to see a three speedway rotation, maybe four. Throw in North Wilkesboro, uh, Bristol, Texas, Charlotte, something like that, or let's maybe they could get another old track up and running like Rockingham. There's been a lot of talk about that. If you could
Hmm.
get that one going, that would be nice too. But I could see North Wilkesboro being part of a rotation for the All Star race, and maybe even an annual host for trucks, Xfinity. But the infrastructure just isn't there for an annual Cup Series race. I mean, it was fine to do what they did this time, but boy, you hear the stories about the traffic. You got 2-lane roads leading in there. They don't have the suites. They don't have garages. It's just the infrastructure. It would take another mammoth undertaking to get that done. But once every 3 years, maybe even 2 years, 4 years, whatever, I think it's nice. It's a true throwback. It's not a manufactured throwback. That is a true throwback, and it looked good. The visuals were great.
Yeah, I'd like to throw Iowa into that rotation too, if we're just going to put
All
off
right, I'm with you. I'm easy. I'm
I,
easy.
I'm the biggest Iowa backer. I'm still
Well,
waiting for them to put.
how about this? How about the Nashville Fairgrounds?
There's another one.
Nashville
Yeah.
Fairgrounds,
How about
North Wilkesboro,
Riverside?
Iowa.
Can we
Yeah,
bring
we got
Riverside back?
in Ontario, the real Ontario.
Yeah. Well, moving on, like you said, there's a big one, a crown jewel, if you will, looming this weekend, right? The 600. I think we touched on that in Speed Freaks today. 600 miles. You're okay with it? What, once a year? Is that fair?
Yeah, I mean, you wouldn't want 400 lap races, you know, monthly. I mean, that's a lot because I know there was a push in recent years to try to condense the TV product, the window for TV, to try to get it down to a 3 hour max. So you wouldn't want to have these all the time. But once a year, it kind of rounds out a schedule that involves road courses, now a dirt track, and then more road courses, plate races, intermediate short tracks. I think it kind of it adds something to the schedule. It's a very well-rounded schedule that they have in terms of tracks, length of races, and format. So, I think once a year is plenty, though. I wouldn't want to do this more often than that. I don't think.
Hey, by the way, before we make our picks, I just wanted to shout out anyone that had Ty Gibbs versus Michael McDowell on their bingo card of the next NASCAR feud. And also, I want to credit Ryan Newman with just some tremendous shade on pit road thrown at Todd Dillon, spoken like a true veteran. Don't know if you saw
Yep.
that or not, but
Nope. But I
yeah,
will now.
just some, yeah, just a really really nice way of venting your displeasure at someone. So congrats to Ryan Newman there. Picks, you haven't got to see mine yet, or have you? Have you looked at mine yet?
I did.
All right.
I'm not
Well,
going to steal it though. Not
all
going to
right,
steal it. No, I like it. I like it a lot.
all
I'm
right.
not going to steal it. I'm going to go with Truex.
Yeah, and of course I went with Hamlin. You already knew that. Now everyone does. I just like the way the Toyotas have looked at these mile-and-a-half racetracks, and I
Yeah.
think we're on the same page there.
Yeah. And I'm going to go with a repeat at Indy, Marcus Ericsson. I'm going to go with him the repeat, which is rare.
Yeah,
You don't know. You don't care.
I'll steal your pick there because that's better than any I would. Mario
Uh,
Andretti still running in this, or am I a few years
there's
late for that?
Marco is.
All right, we'll take
Yeah.
Marco.
There's always an Andretti at Indy.
Hey, I will also say, you mentioned it, just quickly a minute ago. Bubba Wallace is on a heater, and this is, like I said, Toyotas have looked good on a mile and a half, and what a win it would be for him if he was able to pull this off next week. So
Yeah,
keep an eye on him too.
absolutely.
All right, well, guys, we certainly appreciate you tuning in as always. For Ken in the glorious suburbs of Indiana somewhere, and for me in
It is glorious.
what happens to be a gray and gloomy Palm Coast, Florida. Your weather looks better than ours.
Oh,
Weird.
it's phenomenal. I mean, I could freeze time right now up here. It's just beautiful.
All right. Well, guys, thanks for turning in, and we will see you next week.